Hey, how are you? My name is Brooke. This is my channel where I talk about books. And this week on my channel, I'm going to be discussing My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. This book is essentially a series of essays by Emily recounting her life becoming a supermodel and her experiences with her body and Hollywood. She very eloquently brings up why we as women sort of accept this behavior, like misogynistic behavior that happens to us just repeatedly throughout the course of our life, until we become so disgusted with ourselves, but not necessarily our environments. She touches on that so frequently throughout the book, of how, really it's her environment that's sick, but it's her who feels the illness. Not, of course, an actual illness, but the illness of society under the patriarchy. Women have for centuries just sort of accepted this role that we're born into until we're outraged by it, and then women tend to revolt. This novel is important because it made me realize, as just an everyday person, how much internalized misogyny that I carry. I felt myself, questioning if I would be reading this if she weren't famous. If this was just the words and opinions of an everyday woman like me, would this be a bestseller? I found myself sort of not sympathetic for her, not because of the things that she went through, but I guess it was just like, she talks about how much money she was making and things like that. And to me, I realized that everything comes with its cost, so fame and things of that nature come with a higher cost. And so I found myself really having to look at the misogynistic ways that I think, because of the patriarchal society that I have experienced living in America. So this book really highlights the more than anything the problems with Hollywood and being famous and being in the spotlight as a woman. You become not a human, you become just a sexy thing. I see this book as her public outcry that she is more than a pretty face and a hot body. She is also a brilliant mind. She is smart, she is capable, she sees things in different lights than most of her counterparts do. And I really appreciated her thinking about her naivete. Through this novel, Emily is attempting to take control over her story. She has been displayed in the public. She has, had artwork of her body sold without her permission. It just, her physicality became a dispute in ownership. So I see that this novel was her sense of saying, my turn to tell my story, my turn to talk about my body. And I think that in and of itself is very empowering for women, to see somebody take their fame and use it as a platform for good. So I commend her on that. This book lends to say that it means very little to leave your mark on the world with your beauty. Beauty fades, beauty changes, the standards of beauty, body shapes and body types, and all of those things change. What doesn't change is leaving a mark on the world as a woman with your pen. This will be around forever now, and so the people and the topics that she spoke about in this book, they're immortal. The mark that she made on the beauty industry is remarkable. Her experiences in and of themselves are not universal. What is universal in this book are the feelings that women have living in a male-dominated society. The way that we view ourselves, the way we think about ourselves and our options, is all through the lens of a patriarchal society and our roles and our ambitions and everything feels predetermined for a lot of us. And so I think that by her going against the grain and taking the time to dedicate herself to becoming an advocate for these types of things, sexual assault and just being taken advantage of because you're a woman, I think she really highlights why that is such a problem. In any event, this was a good read. It was a quick read. I enjoyed her voice and her point of view. I do think that I would have liked her to talk about her privilege a little bit more. I know there's like, for whatever reason, when I was reading it, I was just reading parts of it and being like, poor you, you're beautiful, and poor you, you got attention because of your looks. Like, I get that it's never okay to judge someone based on the way they looked, but I do wish that she would have acknowledged that she had it so much easier than a lot of other people because she was beautiful. And again, there is a cost for everything. She spoke in the end of the book about becoming a mother. I felt very differently than she did about becoming a mother and pregnancy. So, you know, this is one voice of many. I think that if we could get more people to write novels like this, more women to write novels like this, and we could get more of a complete picture of how women in general feel about their bodies, that then we would be on the right path somewhere. So I'm looking forward to seeing more stories like this written from other women, perhaps of less privileged circumstances. I think if her main point was to highlight the objectification and misogyny that women in Hollywood experience, then she did a terrific job. I think there are so many more experiences from other women that aren't famous that still go through these things and don't make $20 million or whatever. So I would love to hear more of those sorts of voices. Again, good book. It's a good like intro into feminist issues and where we stand today. I give this book 3 out of 5 stars. Again, I wish that there was a little bit more vulnerability about her privilege in this book. That would have made it a little bit better, in my opinion. But I did like it. Great, great insight, great honesty. She was very transparent. I don't think that I would have been as brave to write about some of these things. So amazing, amazing, amazing from her. I hope that she continues to write. In other news this week, I have also been reading this big stack of books. This book is going to take me quite some time. This is The Madwoman in the Attic, and it is the woman writer in the 19th century literary imagination. I am on page 225. It's taken me all week, but again, I'm also reading, was reading My Body. I'm also reading Herland. I haven't started this one yet. And then I started A Room of One's Own last night in conjunction with The Madwoman in the Attic. These books are for the paper I told you guys I was writing last week. I'm writing a paper on 19th century literature and how it really sparked huge parts of the feminist movement and how it was all a result of the revolutions of the 18th century, so on and so forth. I'm really, really loving this topic. I'm really loving the reading material. I'm excited to write this paper and talk about these books. I don't know if I'm going to talk about these on my channel. Let me know if you want to hear anything about my feminist novels that I'm reading now on this channel. A few days ago on Instagram, I did a poll trying to decide what my reads for February were going to be. I was either going to do a Harry Potter reread, or I decided I was going to do a whole month of Penguin classics, and everyone on my Instagram voted for Penguin classics unanimously, so that's what we're doing starting tomorrow. So I have my selection here. Got Wuthering Heights, Letters to a Young Poet, The Awakening. I'm also reading in conjunction with my other feminist works. This was the first classic I read. I believe it was my junior year in AP English that I read The Awakening, and this book was my first true love other than The Catcher in the Rye. Those were my favorite reads from high school. Anyways, so I'm going to reread this again, part of my paper for my history class, but that will be read next month. I also have Pride and Prejudice, Jane Eyre, The Transit of Venus. I'm very excited to read this one. I've never heard of it before, but it sounds incredible, and I'm very, very excited to read it. And then I have here, I bought the uncensored picture of Dorian Gray. I don't know what the difference is between the uncensored one and I guess the original classic censored one. But I got this one because I just wanted to try the uncensored one. I don't know. Anywho, also want to read, maybe instead of the uncensored picture of Dorian Gray, I want to read, there's a book, oh gosh, I can't remember it now, by Niche, about good and evil. But I might read that instead of the uncensored picture of Dorian Gray. Let me know if you've read any Niche before, and if you, I don't even know if that's how you say his name, Friedrich Nietzsche? Anywho, I'm still deciding which of those two I want to read. I don't have, I think it's like The Good and Evil. Let me check. So yes, it is Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche. I don't know how you say his name, but forgive me. You guys can figure out what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Anyways, so I don't know which of those two I'm going to read next month yet. I don't even know if I will get through all of these. I think I can. I know I can read this fairly quickly because it's a reread. Letters to a Young Poet is a favorite from Emmy, who has her own YouTube channel. She talks about this book and how much she loved it on her channel, so I figured I had to give it a read. It's fairly short and they are letters, so I'm assuming I can get through this fairly quickly. So I will probably read these two in tandem for next week's video. Very excited about reading these and giving you guys a review. I also have a little stack of books here that I'm super excited to read. A Year of Zen is a journal, but it is still something I'm working in at the moment. 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think is next on my list too. I also have Alone with You in the Ether and 1984 by George Orwell. So these are all sort of on my list as priority here. I have cut out a huge chunk of reading work for myself, but I'm so excited to get started on it all. Thank you so much for coming and watching this video today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I hope that you got something out of this video, and happy reading, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Sunday for more Books with Brooke. Bye.